lives one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
Hallelujah, 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 'cause he's my superhero, superstar. He's my superhero. He's our superhero. I'm coming to change the game, shake his head in the future lane. Jesus Christ, the one that I claim, the name above all names. He's supernatural, like a superhero. Jehovah Jireh, my provider, 6-figure zeros. I'm working hard for the kingdom, spread the word everywhere in the land. Blessed if I told you, send on the word of God to bless every man. No matter who you are, I'm not the one to judge. If you a crook of blood, a street thug, or somebody's plug, I'm still gonna show you love. I used to be in the game until I got on my knees and called out my hero's name. Father in heaven, forgive me for my sins, my life is torn apart. Gotta need a new start. Believing in you, I can win again and again and again. He would catch me when I was falling, getting high like a time fly. I was ready to die. My name he was calling. His mercy and grace saved my life, protected me from the evil, all the hatred and anger in my people. He is my hero. He's my superhero. He's my superhero. He's my superhero. He's my superhero. Protects me everywhere I go. 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 This feminine plague in the land, this showing the women and men. We gotta turn, I gotta repent so he can restore the land. He's got the master plan, every day we give him praise. No more am I a slave, thank God my soul is saved. All over the world, people are struggling from tribulation. My superheroes, the answer to every situation. People, please believe our superheroes everywhere. When you're at home or in the streets, just flying in the air. Be aware, stay sober minded, don't let the world have you blinded. Words of wisdom, stay ambitious, and never stop grinding. Hard work will pay off, have faith and keep believing. Never forget the devil's a lie, victory's your season. Stand strong, you ain't alone, God will never forsake you. When you represent the kingdom, yes, the world gon' hate you. Stand strong, you ain't alone, God will never forsake you. When you represent the kingdom, yes, the world gon' hate you. He's my superhero. He's my superhero. He's my superhero. He's my superhero. Protects me everywhere I go. 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 I ain't got that ready. Take a shout on it, yeah.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Relentless Radio. Yeah, it's good to be back. Another wonderful week. It is August the 28th, and it is 6:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, the year is 2020, and it's almost over, ain't it? Started. I don't know if anybody out there has been watching the news today or just been paying attention to what's going on in our society and our communities today. But, man, I can tell you I've watched over the past 2 weeks, I watched the DNC, and I also watched the RNC. And today I paid a little bit of attention to what was going on in D.C., and it touched my heart. You know, it really touched me because today I felt like, and I hate to say it, but I felt like that we in our country for the past few weeks have been taking a step back. We haven't been looking in the rearview mirror. No, we've been trying to roll back the clock to the 1960s and the 1860s. And I tell you, that's tough on me. It's tough. But you know what? Being a young man in America, well, I guess I'm getting close to the middle age since I'm almost 50. But being a man in America today, a black man in America today, is kind of tough. But it ain't so tough where it makes me want to quit. It ain't so tough where it makes me want to stop. It's not so tough where it makes me want to give up, right? So today I want to talk about a little something. I got my two buddies on with me. I'm sure they'll be here, my two partners in crime. I'm happy to be on with Sister Kimmy. Kimmy, we love you. Thank you for holding it down and keeping us on and keeping us going. But, wow, today was awesome. And what I'm speaking of was I watched today the 57th anniversary of the March on Washington, which culminated in a March on Washington in 2020. And I heard some wonderful stories. I heard a message of hope. I heard a message of, check this out, I heard a message of intolerance for the abuses that are going on in our country, but I also heard a message of tolerance for us as a people, an opportunity for all of us to grow into this thing. Yeah, some of us may not be where we need to be. Hear what I'm saying when I say this. And I want to talk a little bit about this today, but some of us may not be where we want to be. In other words, that I may have friends who are prejudiced against me because of what they think about me, or even just because of the color of my skin or the clothes that I wear, what they see on the exterior. But that message of tolerance said to me when I was listening to these people talk was that give them a chance to change. You know, you be the change that you want to see. Now, it wasn't a lay down message and let them beat all over you. It was give them a chance, right? And I get it. I understand it. And then another message I heard was you know what? I'm going to walk, fight, and pray. I will not return violence for violence, right? I'm not going to be who you accuse me of being just so I can get you off my back, right? You know, in other words, I won't become a vigilante because you call me a thug, a rogue, or a thief. You hear what I'm saying? And I heard these messages today, and I don't know if everybody heard them the way that I heard them, but they really touched my heart. So today, I want to talk a little bit about that because we've had this talk before. I had a show a few weeks ago where I said, okay, I wanted to introduce myself to America as a black man, right? I wanted America to see who I am. And I wasn't just talking to white America, right? I was talking to all of America, black America, brown America, green America, yellow America, purple, yeah, all of America, right? But today, as I listened to these shows, I was just sitting back and I was thinking, man, it's tough out here. And I tell you, what really made saw Jamel Hill on one of the national talk shows, and I said, well, that's Jamel Hill. They got rid of her from ESPN because she said something that they thought was controversial, and she refused to take it back, and it was something that was supporting black athletes. I had a problem with that, right? But Jamel is not even bitter about it, y'all. I want y'all to know she wasn't bitter. She's not bitter. She doesn't come off as bitter. She comes off as somebody who says, I get it. I upset you. But just because you got upset, it don't change a thing. The problem is still here. I'm still going to address the problem. Until we change the problem, we're going to be here walking, fighting, and praying. So with that said, I want to talk about how America sees us once again as men, as black men, how we navigate the system that we live in, which is not fair to us. And thank you, LeBron James. Thank you, all our superstars. But I want to thank the lowly guys. There was this one guy, I forget his name, and I apologize. This man walked from Milwaukee to Washington, D.C., and he was telling his story. He walked over 650 miles, and he was the only one in his group that actually walked the entire 650 miles. He told his stories of triumph. He said there were some cities he walked into where the police were their friends. They rode with him. And then he walked over to the very next municipality, and they got arrested. The police was against them. He said that there were some restaurants who welcomed them in one part of the country, but then they got somewhere else. They shut it down because they had heard that they was coming to tear stuff up, and they were going to vandalize stuff. And the police kept them from using the restrooms. I mean, it was up and down. And you know what? I really like what he said, because that's what's resonating. That's the problem with our country right now. We have one side of our country who is very tolerant, or who appears to be, and then we have the other side who's rigid and intolerant. And then check this out. Here's the craziest thing in the world to me, is that we have people on both sides who claim that they're doing the right thing, right? They claim it, but when you hear their reasoning and their explanation for what is right, you find that it's really a lot of hate. There's really a lot of just injustice is their middle name. It's all about us. I'm going to talk about this a little bit, but one side is all about us. The other side is, well, we're going to say it's all about you guys, but we have what we have, right? When are we going to get on one accord as a country, as an entire nation, and say, you know what, it's all about us. This nation, when we say indivisible with liberty and justice for all, you know, we know that when the song was written, when the pledge was written, justice for all meant all white people. It didn't even mean all white people. It meant all rich white people. Oh, it meant all powerful people. It meant all people with their means, right? That's what it really meant. Let's go and break it down. But when we say it today, we're saying for all people. We need to go from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. Everybody. Equality is equal. It's not, if you got this, you can do this. If you got this amount of power, this amount of money, this amount of stuff. No. See, that's the way we live, and I'm saying that's what's making it so hard, but I'm kind of rambling, and I'm going to digress. As I do that, I want to go ahead and introduce the two guys that got on with me, my two partners in crime. Terry, are you on with us today?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Sedric? How you doing?
Oh, man, we hanging in there. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. Growing, you know, every day.
Growing. Yeah.
Every day.
That's good.
Every day.
Awesome. Yo, J-Dub, you all with me, man? I'm looking forward to hearing what you got to say today.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
I got you, Wow. Jay, Wow. I got you, man. How's your week been?
Man, it's been great, bro. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I've been struggling. I've had a great week, but I've been struggling. I've been struggling with this craziness we got going on, and I realize that some people don't know where to go with it. I realize that some people don't understand what's happening. I realize that some people don't really care. They just don't give a flip, right? They just don't care. So we care. I care. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about today. You know, a while ago, we did the one show, and it was introducing ourselves to America as black men. You know, who are we? Because we're not a monolith, and the whole purpose of that show is to show our listeners that we're not all the same. We don't all have the exact same opinion on things. We don't have the same outlook on things, but we are yet still considered black by all of America. They look at us and say, oh, he's black. They don't notice the difference, that I'm a pretty light-skinned guy, that you're a medium-toned guy, that Terry's a medium-toned guy, a little bit darker. Terry's shaped different than Sedric. Cedric's shaped different than Jason. They don't know that. They don't know that you're 6'3", 6'4", 6'2", whatever how tall. They don't know Terry's 5'9", 5'10". They don't know Cedric's about 6'1", about 230. They don't know, right? We just black. So what I wanted to talk about a little bit about today was how we're navigating the system. You know, since everything's been going on here lately, and especially since the murder of George Floyd and countless, and I apologize, I don't remember all the names, but countless other people who've been murdered by police in our country, how has that affected the way we navigate society today? I mean, have you guys noticed the change, how you treat people, how you think about situations? Just let's just talk a little bit about this. We're at the barbershop, we kicking it. Let's just have a little chat about it. Is it okay with you two guys?
That works for me. Now, and Cedric, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. As this situation has come to awareness, the one thing, it's starting a lot of conversations. And I'll tell you, in every conversation I have, especially with groups of black men, it's the same thing. It's a shared experience. And And it's all of us saying the exact same thing, whether we're 23 or 63. You know, whether we grew up rich, poor, or anywhere in between. It's the same thing that I have to face, you know, racist actions. You know, when a cop pulls me over, there's, you know, a little part of my stomach drops out. You know, when I walk into a building or I get onto an elevator, somebody wants to clutch their purse because they're worried. People go on the other side of the hallway just to avoid me. You know, and we all have that same shared experience. And whether we want to call systemic racism or not, there is something in the system that is affecting each and every one of the black men that I talk to. So as we you know, navigate through this season, it's so just hard to hear when people want to deny. I understand maybe not systemic racism, but just deny there's not something systemic, you know, there's not something in the culture and the system of America that affects every black man. They want to say, well, if you're like that because, well, maybe you only grew up with one parent in the home, or you didn't have enough money, or this and that. And I'm like, man, you're missing the bigger picture. It's not about a circumstance or a situation. It's about a shared experience by a group of people who are only connected by one thing and one thing only, the color of their skin. And if we can't get people to kind of see that and to recognize it, then I get almost saddened, because the more I hear people talk, especially on the other side, the more I hear less and less about, man, you're not hearing about the experience that I'm telling you about. And, you know, and they always want to write it off. Well, did you do something wrong? And I am a college graduate who works in a corporate level position and has been for my whole entire life. The worst thing I ever did was get a speeding ticket. And you're going to ask me, did I do something wrong? You know, it's like, okay, you know. So yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm going to deny your experience because obviously, almost like I said before, it's not that you don't see it, it's just you don't want to. And I think, you know, it's coming out a lot more.
And honestly, can I jump on something back of Jason, though, Cedric? Because it kind of when you just said that about if people look at you like you may have done something wrong or something like that, and it reminds me of like with Job, when Job lost everything, when everything hit him all at once, kept on hitting him, and he lost it, and his friends came up to him and said, you must have done something, you know, for this to happen, you know, it's some of just being who we are. Just being black in America right now is cause for many people to treat us differently, whether it be the police force, whether it be over-policing, whether it be under-policing, whether it be discrimination when you go shopping or when they try to do different, you know, it could be many different things. But right now, the way I'm feeling in this climate, I'm happy that it's being exposed for really and I'm happy that the young people are really leading the charge on this, and they're not letting up. But I'm also saddened to the point to where it's like people of other, you know, people, just it's the other people, white people, they just don't. Some people, not saying all, but some refuse to take a moment to try to understand or try to. So you know something, there's something wrong here, you know, and it's time for us to take a stand, because again, a lot of them, they made the laws, they created the system, and my thing is, you created it, I can speak against it, but right now you're the one that can help change it. So we need more allies, we need more people that can step forward and have courage to be able to speak to people in positions of power and in places of things like that to help bring about the change that is necessary. But sometimes, again, because we don't have some of those allies sometimes, it leaves me feeling kind of helpless, kind of powerless during these moments.
Okay. It's funny. I was reading an article, and I'm going to take this question directly from where I got it. So I'm going to give credit to who I'm getting it from. I believe that the article was written by Monica T. Williams. She's a PhD, and it's posted on Psychology Today. And and basically there was some. She wrote an article and she got a bunch of responses back. She wrote an article called "Colorblind Ideology is a Form of Racism." So it's a colorblind ideology is a form of racism. But in that, there was a question posed, and the question is, she got some responses back from her audience. So I'm going to pose the question to you two guys. And basically she says, how can a white person understand and give due recognition to the blackness of a black person unless that person reveals a fair amount of information about him or herself to the white person? Should white people request this information or just wait for it to emerge when the black person chooses?
I'm going to jump in on that one. I think there has to be a piece of being on purpose. Our thing is we've gone to their schools, we've lived in their communities, we've grown up around them, we know how they operate. So it's in for the most part, but yet we've got to understand that each individual person is human. So just as much as we have to take it upon ourselves to get to know each and every individual, whether they be white, black, brown, purple, they need to be able to take that same energy and be on purpose with us to get to know us as individuals. Not all of us are, like you were mentioning earlier, we're all different. We're all built different. We think different. We have different views upon things. We a lot of times, and if they would just take the time to get to know us, they would learn. You know something? I think I use the example of when I was a kid. How they asked us. We were two black guys. We were staying in with this white family, and they asked us, "Well, what do you all like to eat?" Well, the same thing that your kids like to eat. There's no different. And she said that was the biggest eye-opening thing for her. She said, "You guys are just like anybody else." Well, no, we didn't grow up underneath cabbage leaves. You know what I'm saying? We eat what you eat. I mean, so but it was an eye-opening experience for her.
But isn't that funny? Because you're right. I mean, the thing I find with people of different cultures, especially with white people, a lot of them, and I have many stories, and I won't go into them. But one of the things I found with some white people is the problem is they don't understand our experience, right? And so they can't make an authentic connection with us. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the people, I hate to say it like this, but a lot of men that I've met that are older than myself by a few years, they don't even make a genuine effort to connect with blacks to even try to gain an understanding or even try and empathize with the way that we see the world or the way that, the way we see the world. They don't want to see the world through our eyes because they are perfectly happy living the way that they live. And Jason, I'm going to throw this one out to you because it's a question that I'm thinking about. I think it leads right in because, a gentleman I worked with, he refused to see the world from a black standpoint. And I basically took a hint from a movie called, that was with Samuel L. Jackson and Matthew McConaughey, A Time to Kill. If you remember the last scene, Matthew McConaughey painted this picture of this little girl being raped and beaten, and he was in tears. And then he said at the very end, he said, "Now close your eyes. Now picture that little girl as being a white girl." Oh, my God. The courtroom was like silent. There was dead silence. And now people were able to look at what happened to Samuel Jackson's daughter in the movie through their own eyes and from their own family guide. So my question for you is this right here, Jason. Why do you think that so many white people are just completely oblivious to the black experience?
I think it goes hand in hand with what I was talking about earlier, that shared experience.
Go ahead.
I think there's actually two sides of that experience. There's the experience that we have as being black in America, but there's also the experience of being white in America and how all they're shown, all they're ever taught, all they ever know is black people being lesser than, being animalistic. And Terry, your situation is a perfect example. Oh, what do you guys eat? I mean, what do you mean what you guys eat? They're kids, But the white culture is just as affected by this system as we are. where they grow up seeing these images and ideals. Now, the good ones will actually, okay, this is what I grew up, this is what I saw, this is what's been indoctrinated into me, but let me really see what these people are about. But the majority don't. They just go with what they know, and it does cause these internal things. Like I said, when I get into an elevator and that little woman clutches her purse, it's like, you don't know me, but something is indoctrinating her to say, oh, this guy could be a threat, you know, and she may not have had any experience with a black person. So I think it's a situation where it's partially, I don't think they know they've been indoctrinated, and then when you try to tell them, they get defensive and they get like, what are you talking about? I know exactly what I think, and I know where it came from. And I'm like, man, you don't know what you think, because you have these ideas, but when I challenge you on your experiences, you can't tell me one experience you had with a black man that would even develop and shape these ideals. Or if you did have an experience, how you just can't write that off as, oh, that dude was a jerk, right? You know, how many times you have a bad experience with a white person and you just say, oh, that dude's a jerk, have the exact same bad experience with a black person, oh, see, that's what I thought. You know, that's what those people do. And I'm like, man, see, you want to tell me this is what I think, this is what I know, but I'm like, you don't even know what you think, and you don't know where it came from, because when I push you and I ask you really pointed questions about, okay, talk to me about your experience. Well, you know, this black guy one time, he was really rude and he threatened me in front of my family. Okay, that's one. Tell me something else that happened. Well, that was all that happened. So you're telling me in your lifetime, you had one bad experience with one black person, and it shapes your perspective about the whole group. And how many bad experiences have you had with white people? And you still think what? Okay. You know, and so I think, you know, I think, like I said, when we talk about that shared experience, I think it does go both sides.
But Jay, Scott, throw something in there though. And when you talk about those people where they got their experience from, a lot of their experiences from what they see on TV, how black men have been portrayed on television, in media.
That's a good one.
I mean, because if you think about it, like take for instance this whole with the whole thing that happened in Kenosha, you have this guy. He was there to break up a fight. He wasn't there, you know. He was there to break up a fight, and so they immediately thought that he was the problem. Because, you know, and honestly, and the sad thing about it is, this is what the world is seeing. They see these videos. They see these police running behind him, trying to shoot him with tasers. They see him trying to get in the car, and they shoot him in the back. You know, he must have done something really, really bad to do that. But if you look at the media and how they perpetuate this, how movies perpetuate this, how even music perpetuates this, the image of black men, of being over-sexualized, being over emotional, and things of this nature. They'll steal whatever's in your house, you know. I mean, granted, I love some of these movies that we have been put out through the years, but when you got people, you know, seeing, you know, you got other people going to see these movies, and they some of them think this is real. Like, oh, we don't see like Friday. Friday was a movie that everybody thinks is a classic. You know, but if you got a whole bunch of white people going to the movie and that's all that they see, and they don't branch out beyond what they see on television. You know, they think that we just sit on the front porch and drink every day. They think we're lazy. They don't think that they don't think we're going to look for a job. They don't think that we want to try to further our education. So honestly, you all, let's think about it. Some of this stuff has been perpetuated. So some of these people in the media, in movies, they think that this is how we really are. So when they see us in the elevator, they begin to think, they clutch their purse because, oh my God, I've seen this before, where a white woman was on the elevator with a black man and she was attacked. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, no, but that's not it.
But you know, but the thing is, what's funny is, and what I've seen, and I mentioned earlier in the show about seeing what was on TV. Think about this, and again, think about this. When I watched the DNC, during the DNC, they said, we have peaceful protesters out here, and they're being attacked by police. And then when you look at the videos that are shown on TV, you say, yeah, there's some peaceful protesters. But now you see people breaking out windows. You see people running in liquor stores, taking out shoes out of the Nike store. I don't know why the heck you want to break into a clothing store when you can just go break into. I don't know. But anyway, you see people doing this. Well, on the other side, and then during the DNC, you hear, okay, but these are peaceful protesters. Well, then where's all the fires coming from? Okay, then you look at the RNC this past week. The RNC, they come out, they say, suburban America, you know, all y'all people who don't live in the inner city, you know, y'all don't live in the urban areas, you know, y'all people with enough money to live in the really nice houses out in the suburban America. Your neighborhoods are about to be overrun by a bunch of thugs and criminals. They about to move into your areas. I need y'all to look out the door now. Do y'all see any violence at y'all house? Nope. Y'all see anybody run down the street with torches trying to burn anything? Nope. Y'all see somebody with TVs running out the back door? Nope. Well, rest assured, they coming. They only about 200 miles away, but they coming. Get your gun. And then suburban America gets scared for what's supposed to be coming. Urban America is in the midst of what's here, and a lot of the people who are causing the crime don't even live there. They come from other places, right? And the story gets jumbled up, and it never gets told correctly by either side. I'm not jumping on any side. Right now I'm apolitical, okay? Just at the moment I'm apolitical. Now don't get it twisted. I'm not foolish. I'm just being apolitical for this scenario. The problem I have is that when we tell the story, we tell it from two separate sides, and the media pushes one agenda. And it's like the smallest segment of the country has the biggest voice. Why? Because they yell the loudest. The people that you're talking about, Jason, I had one experience with a black person, and it shaped my experience with all black people, even though I've only had one experience, right? But it will influence every experience from this moment on. So the point I want to make, and the reason I'm bringing this out, is I want the two of you guys, can you help me help my white friends, or help me help my non-black friends, or better than that, can y'all help me help my black friends who are slaves who got on that RNC last night and showed that they were slaves? Because I'm gonna tell you, I heard Pastor Jamal Bryant say this today, and I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Y'all can correct me, but Pastor Jamal Bryant said, you know, I thought about something last night. He was speaking at the 2020 March on Washington today. He said, I thought about this. Harriet Tubman said, I freed thousands of slaves, but I could have freed hundreds more slaves had they known they were slaves. And then he said, you know, I thought about this when I saw them black slaves get up at the RNC, okay, and start speaking on behalf of Trump. Now, again, I'm trying to be apolitical, but I know that's not an apolitical statement, but it's truth. How can we help our brothers and sisters who are confused, right along with white people, to know that we're not what you think we are not this image that's been created of us. I mean, hearing you talk, Terry, when you say they think that we're oversexed, crazed, and criminals, don't y'all know that image was created all the way back during the first movie, the Klan recruiting tool? I'm not even gonna call the name of it. Mm-hmm. Don't y'all know that was created way back then in the early 1900s? Listen, I didn't want to say the name of it. I know the name of it. I like the New Birth of a Nation, okay? The one that just came out a couple of years ago. We're not going to say that name. But I got you. You ain't have to be a genius for me. You know I know it. I just didn't want to say it. But what I'm saying is, let's help these people understand who we are. Who are we? Jason, you ain't never committed no crime. The most you ever got is a ticket. Am I right? A simple little ticket, right, Jason, as you keep going without noise in the background? Okay, we're going to go past Jason. Terry, you still there talking to me? So help me explain to people who we are. Explain to people who we are, what we're talking about.
Help us explain to them
why is this so important. Let's help them understand. Let's go to their psyche and see. You see me as this criminal because you looked at a movie because somebody told you I was a criminal. You locked down your house because somebody told you I was coming, but did you know I was a freaking encyclopedia salesman? How can we help these people understand this? You know, I guess what I'm saying is their sensitivity, because where we're going to go with this and where I'm going to go with my next question is I'm going to talk about how white people become very anxious because they have this perception that we're angry people. How can we help them with that?
Well, I mean, and one of the things I'm learning in my dialogue with John Abel, which is a white male, is when they approach you to want to know who you are as an individual, be willing to share that. But also, like we've done with Mr. Abel, there's going to be some uncomfortable things that we're going to have to discuss, and really help them to understand that it's in the midst of that uncomfortableness that change occurs. But I believe it's really when people literally want to learn about you, who you are, that we should be able to share that with them. Like I was sharing with you guys earlier about the one woman. She after she asked about what we eat, she wanted to know everything. Well, where do you live? No, okay, we don't live in caves. We live in a house in the suburbs. And really helping her to get to know me as a person and realize that, something, I live, breathe, eat, drink, have to go to work just like you. Pay bills, stuff like that, just like you. And because again, it's been so now where there is this image of black men that's out there that, that it's really, they try to throw it on everybody that we're, like you said, that we are short-tempered, that we are angry all the time, and this, that, and the other, and that's not true. You need to get to know us as individuals, as a people, but also as individuals before you try to start throwing a tag on me as a thug. Just because
right.
I'm wearing jeans and
now, Terry. Now, Terry, I want to kind of piggyback off that. It's interesting. So my ex-wife, she's white. She was telling me about an experience that her sister had. And, it was kind of right as this stuff was starting. And her sister walked up to a black person, and I think it was a black woman, and I was kind of asking her about her experience and stuff. And the black woman responded with, very kind of assertively. So my ex-wife said, well, she was trying to reach out and understand, and they were just being mean about it, so why waste my time? And I think what I would tell people is when you approach somebody, don't approach people like things like you don't like, or like nothing exists. Like, man, I never heard about this before. Can you tell me more about it? That's almost insulting, And I tell you this story all the time where it is insulting. Well, where like I said, I've had people like I've had white pastors come into our church, to talk to our black congregation or our black men's group, and they asked a question like, I really want to know more. And the thing I threw back at him is like, man, what do you mean? And the way he was approaching is like it was something brand new. And I had to ask the question. And I asked the question on the show. It was like, it's not brand new. It's been out there. The question is, why have you chosen not to see it? So if you're going to approach somebody and ask them about their experience, recognize it's already been seen, right? Don't act like this is something brand new and you're just waking up to it. Man, if you're more than 5 days old, you've seen it. You know about it. So don't act like you've never seen it. And I'll tell you, when people try to come up to me and say, man, I didn't even know it was that bad. Well, tell me more. My first inclination, now I'm a little bit more calm than most people, but I'll be like, I do think about it. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Where have you been? I mean, from Rodney King to George Floyd, it's the same story, right? I mean, you see those, we all seen those pictures where black people got hoses turned on them. For what? Just to try to sit down and eat.
Dog.
You've seen that picture. Dog. And you want to act like, this is new to me. Can you tell me more? It is insulting. It's kind of like, do you really want to know? Because if you would just open your eyes for just a little bit, you would be coming to me like, man, I'm seeing all this, but I don't understand the impact it has on you. Can you explain that to me? See, that's a better conversation to me. Because at least you have shown that you've done some research on your side and you've recognized some things on your side. But then come to me and say, man, I didn't know this existed. Can you kind of explain this to me? I'm looking at you like, no, because, you know, if you're over the age of 5 days old and you ain't processed it yet, I don't know what kind of explanation I'm going to give to make you help you process it. You know,
right.
so
it's funny because it's funny because, you know, again, that's that very situation where I've met white people who say that you guys are just hypersensitive to racial matters. And what they don't want to realize is racism exists. When people tell me there's no systemic racism in America, that's a bald-faced lie. Everything in our Constitution is about racism. I'm sorry. It's everywhere. There's no part of our ruling system that is not founded in racism. Okay? When you said that a black man was only 5/8 a man, I'm sorry, that's racism. When you said the original Declaration of Independence, when they struggled with putting all men are created equal, they had to write 3 different versions of it just to figure out which version they were going to use, because they were like, no, we can't put this in here because now the slaves are going to think that they just as much men as we are. Everything in our society is based on it, and from corporate America, from the boardroom to the gutter on the corner where the bums fighting. Okay, I'm just being honest. My thing is, do you guys think that we are being overly sensitive? And I heard what you said, Jason, but I want y'all to just tell white America, non-black America, black America, confused black America, what we mean by we are not being overly sensitive about these issues.
Well, because we see them every day.
Say it. Put it in plain English because we're in the barbershop. Ain't no need being educated about it.
Right. We're not being overly sensitive. Let's just be for real. I mean, we grew up with this. We didn't ask for it. You know, we didn't grow up with, you know, with our parents we grew up with our parents having to tell us, you know something, you don't need to go down that street, you need to be in here by a certain time, you can't do certain things, you know. And I'm like, why? You know, but there was a reason why. The reason why was because there was, you know, extra white part of town. White part of town, or you know, that you know, I don't want you to get killed. So we've been raised with that piece, you know, and they don't understand that how even now we're having to teach our children, hey, you know something, if you get stopped by the police, here's what I need for you to do, because I want you to come home early. They don't understand that because they don't have to do that with their kids. They don't have to do that with their kids.
That's right.
So I don't think it's oversensitive. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Jason. Go ahead. Right.
No, I don't think. I don't think we're oversensitive. I think most people have been desensitized, and the fact that we refuse to be desensitized to this, we refuse to be like, well, this is just the norm. And you know, when people say, well, you're being oversensitive, it's not that. You've just been desensitized. Because I would tell you this: if your kid came to you, your spouse came to you, your parent came to you, complaining about what you hear from the black man, whether you believe it or not, you're going to be like, man, that ain't right. Let me respond to it, right? But because you've heard it for so long, because you've dealt with it for long, or because, like we said, the media has put it out there and made it look like something that it's not, you've become completely and totally desensitized to it. You know, so don't say I'm oversensitive. I'm going to look at you and tell you just been desensitized. Because here's the reality.
That's right.
If your kid come to you and say the exact same thing I'm saying to you about how they feel, whether it's valid or not, you're going to be like, man, I need to go look at that. I need to do something about that.
Do something about that. And so here's my thought on the whole thing, because I'm agreeing with both of y'all. I just need some people to back me up. Is I feel like as a people we're not being overly sensitive. I feel like when you call the police departments, I got a story to tell. I'm not going to share it today. When you call in the police department, they show up like it's martial law and they can fix every problem with a gun and a badge. Ain't going to happen. So I say to the world, and I mean this, that I find it just, it's for us as a people, as black people, it's way too dangerous for us to go sit down with, I'm just going to use the term white, with white people or with others, and just open up and tell our whole story. It's way too dangerous for us, okay? That's kind of like The story I told y'all last week about the lady who told the story about her grandfather who had these ugly scars on his eyes. He's 5 years old trying to read, and the overseer cut out both his eyes at the age of 5 years old, so he would never see for the rest of his life. And so it's way too dangerous. So I say to white America, if that's what you're expecting from me, man, you're gonna be waiting a long time. I can't just sit down and spill out my guts if you don't know who I am, and if you're not trying to get to know me, my story, my struggle. And that's part of what the problem we have today. I believe that's part of what the problem is. I don't believe that we as a people are anxious. I don't believe that one bit. I don't believe that we're going to get any further in this if we continue to distance ourselves from each other's issues. I don't believe that this struggle is going to fix itself. I believe that that's what certain people, certain politicians, certain organizations are trying to do today. They're trying to create these problems so that we give up. So we give up on each other.
Right.
And what we need to do is not give up on each other. So with that being said, I got another question. That is right here. I want to talk about the angry part. Y'all done touched on it. I've just been making notes while we were talking. So what is it? Now I want y'all to choose which side y'all want to take. Which side you want to take? I want to know what makes us angry, and try to keep your answers about 20, 30 seconds so everybody have a chance to talk. Let's not go for 3 minutes. You lose your train of thought. What constitutes an angry black man, right? And then how can we help the rest of the world deal with this perceived angry black man? Because we know he ain't angry. He just fed the heck up. So can y'all tell me about that? Whichever one y'all want to go first, go. But one y'all take the first part, one y'all take the second part. I just need y'all opinion. I want the rest of the world to hear what I got to say.
I would tell you like this. I reside to the fact that anger is a secondary emotion, and what you have is not an angry man. You have a man that's hurt. And if you really, when you see every angry black man, don't look at him as an angry black man. Look at him as a hurt black man, and then now let's evaluate the situation. If I got a group of people and all feeling hurt and feeling sad, you're going to look at that group totally different. So I don't even subscribe to angry black man. It might come out as angry, but anybody who knows anything, when you're hurt, sometimes that's the only thing you can put out there. So you're looking at a group of people so hurt. That's what you get from them.
Right. When you've been disenfranchised, when you have been beat down, when you have been shown over and over and over again on media, on television, you getting shot for just being in a place, or for just, or they assume that you've done something really bad, it wears on you. And so what happens is you see, like you said, it's a secondary emotion to what's really going on. What's really going on is I'm frustrated as hell. Excuse me. I am frustrated. I am really, I feel like that you're not hearing me. I don't see any changes. I feel like a foot is constantly on my neck. And so you come to me with some foolishness. You're going to get the anger part. You're not going to get the help. You're not going to get the feeling of helpless. You're going to get the I'm pissed.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, let's help them out. Since both of y'all jumped on that, both of y'all can help me with this. Well, let's help them out. Let's get them off our back. Let's tell them what they need to do. Because you know what? We got to put it where the goats can get it, because people aren't getting it. You know what? They're not getting it. So let's put it where the goats can get it. Let's help them out. How can we help them out? Come on. Somebody.
Now, I would say like you do anything else. When someone is hurting and in pain, you comfort them. You console them. You help. You kind of understand.
I'm gonna console you if you're trying to shoot me.
No. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about white America, how they help black men, and how they help the blacks.
Yeah.
No.
I'm saying I need you to clarify how you telling. Oh, Terry, hold on, bro. Hold on. I know you're hyper, but let's do this. Let's do this orderly now. Let's do this orderly. All right. No. I mean, you just got to explain your position, Jason, because I didn't agree with what you said. That's all I'm saying.
I would tell you like this. One of the biggest things for me is that you want to dismiss my experience. You want to dismiss my pain. You want to dismiss my hurt. If you want to talk to me, you recognize that first, right? I'm not asking you to say that you did it, but just recognize that it's there. And now let's talk about how do we overcome it, right? How can you walk with me? How can you partner with me to overcome this hurt and pain that I'm feeling? And like I said before, how do I fix a trauma when I'm still living in it? Can you walk with me while I'm in the midst of this trauma and use your influence to try to change this circumstance so that I'm not dealing with that trauma anymore? So that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right, Terry, go ahead and put it where the ghost can get it.
Okay, but first you got to recognize that these things have traumatized a person. The laws have traumatized us. The way systems are set up have traumatized us. They have not recognized that yet. When you have a situation where little black boys are dealing with, or they're putting them on drugs for ADHD and all these other different disorders without really understanding the trauma that some of these kids are in. When you're the only, like for instance, when you're a black boy and you're the only black boy in the school or in your class, and you recognize, that's traumatic because you become more so self-conscious. The teachers are really pointing you out, all these different things. So it's like, until you recognize the different things that have been put in place, that are in place, that have caused us trauma, you're not going to really be willing to accept it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? I can sit there and say, I'm traumatized, I'm going through this, but if the other people, if white people don't understand or don't take the time to say, something, that could be very traumatic. You know what I'm saying? Like take for instance, I'm in social service. I'm in social services. One of the things that but I'm on the private side, but on the public side is that you got some of these social workers. They are ripping these kids out of their homes. Yes, some of them need to be. Understand, taken away from their parents for whatever reasons. There may have been abuse, there may have been some things like that. But when you're ripping them apart, really what that's doing, that's traumatizing those kids. That's traumatizing that family. And what that does, that manifests itself in bad behavior in school. It manifests itself in fighting. What is when they leave school early, truancy, or they don't go to school. But until you recognize the trauma that someone has been in, such as black men and black women, recognize it and accept it and say, something, we've been traumatized these folks, and we really need to do something different.
Right. So, and I think that I think what both of you said is spot on. I think it's correct, because I got a different way of saying it, and mine's just, I got a song for y'all, but I ain't gonna sing it for you. But I say, get the hell off, homie, get off me. But I'm gonna say this. Because I got one question left, and I know we're running short on time, but I want you to take your time to answer it, because this is actually pretty cool for me. And I'll definitely answer this question. But my question is, going through and just listening to what the both of you just said, what we all three had to say, as black people in America, as black men in America, here's a question that I was asked, and I'm going to throw it out to you guys. So what do y'all Negroes, African Americans, black people, other than white people, what do you want from us? Go ahead, whichever one want to go first. So what do we want?
I think I don't want equality. I want equity. And this is a concept that's just been introduced to me. Equality is giving everybody the same thing. Equity is recognizing that, hey, you may have had something more, and so I'm going to get you on an equal playing field. And the picture that comes with equity, you've got, three different sized people, a short person, a middle person, and a tall person. And the first picture, everybody gets the same box. Well, the great thing is the tall person, they're able to see over the fence because they're looking at a baseball game. The medium-sized person can kind of see over there if they stand on the tiptoes. Well, the short person still can't see over the fence. That's equality. Equity is saying that, okay, well, you're tall. You really don't need a box, so you can already see over the fence. All right, you medium-sized guy. Let me give you a smaller. Let me give you a box, so you can see over the fence. Now, the short guy, I'm gonna give you a bigger box than I give the medium-sized guys. So now y'all all can see over the fence at the same level. Now, I think we've taken that too far that we want to try to get equity in, like, give me something. No, don't give me something. Give me equity in my mindset. Give me equity in my spirit. Make me feel like undo the damage and the trauma you've done. So now when I wake up as a black man, I can see myself as being successful. And then I can live what you call this American dream with all this opportunity. Because the opportunity may be not out there, but if I don't believe it's for me, then it's a waste of effort. So what we need and what I think we need, what I would ask for is equity. So when you see that kid that grew up in that single home and mom was hard on him, take some time to build his esteem up. Let him know, man, you're just as good of a person as the next person. And so that when he walks into that school, when he walks into those different opportunity areas, he's got a sense of himself that goes beyond the trauma that he faced of his circumstance. So I'm not looking for a handout, but what I am looking for is, you know what, give me equity and opportunity and allow me to realize it.
Okay, got it. Awesome. I will say, I think I understand what you mean by equity. I think that using the word equity leaves things wide open for what you need, but I do like the way you put that. But I'm going to recommend the book. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to say the name of it yet, but I'm going to give you an interior book. I'll send it to you guys. It's about that very thing, about equity. Terry, what say you? Can't hear you.
I was thinking about the other day, the white lady, I guess, that spoke at the RNC. She said that she had a black son or a biracial son or something like that. And she said that the police should look at him like he's a whatever, a possible, I can't remember exactly the verbiage that she used, but like a possible threat or whatever, because, she said that's what she teaches her son. And I'm like, you teach your son to walk in fear in the skin that he's in. That really disturbs me.
Wait a minute. She teaches her son to walk in fear of the skin he's in?
Basically, that's what she's doing.
Wow.
She's teaching her adopted son to, that you're a big black man, that people are going to be looking at you differently because you as a possible suspect. So if the police stop you, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, something? You're teaching him to walk in fear in the skin that he's in.
Mm-hmm. So
and that shouldn't be the case.
Okay. So when I think about all that's going on and I think about our society, the thing that bothers me the most is that we have to have reasons. We have to have reasons to tell people that we deserve to be respected as human beings and that we're not animals. That we got to have a reason not to be freaking shot by the police in the back. It bothers me that we have to have reasons why it's okay for a kid from a different state to come into my state, join up with a bunch of his friends with guns and kill two people and severely wound another person. Or we got to have a reason why you took a guy who went into a church and killed 9 parishioners, and y'all took him without incident. He lived, and y'all took him to get Burger King because he was nice and because he looked hungry and because he had been driving all night, running away from the scene of a crime that he committed with guns. We got to have a reason for a black man who supposedly told the police he had a knife in the car under the driver's seat, but he gets shot 7 times in the back. We got to have a reason why Eric Gardner was choked from behind by a police officer, an overly rambunctious police officer, and killed. Why we got to have reasons that we die, but they have good enough reasons that they live? See, the problem I have with where we're living in our country is we got the wrong darn people in power. And for all of us who sit back and think that our votes don't count, who think that our voices need to be silenced, who think that all we need to do is to get in line and be quiet and follow the leader, I got news for you. The time is up for the nonsense. You know, I was growing up and I didn't like Al Sharpton growing up because my parents said, they just about as crazy as him and Jesse Jackson both. I understood they were bitter about some things that had happened years before, but guess what? I've been able to talk to people, both white, brown, green, purple. I've been able to talk to people and I say, look, I just need you to just listen to what he's saying. Don't worry about the man. Don't worry about his name. Just pretend he don't have a name, but listen to his words. And these same people have come back to me and said, you know what? He's got a point. All I'm saying is this. We don't need a reason to be prosperous in America. We don't need a reason not to be beaten. We don't need a reason not to be treated badly. What we need is a reason not to retaliate. What we need is a reason to hold our cool. What we need is a reason to continue to follow Dr. King. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm more of the young militant Malcolm X in my own right. I'm just going to tell you. But we need a reason not to. And I know that I love God. And I'm going to say everybody who loves God. But there's a certain bit of rambunctiousness in me. I'm telling y'all, Joshua was a warrior. I'm sorry. I'm courageous in certain aspects of my life. But I want everybody to understand this. We need a reason to band together. And we need a reason to change this. So every time you think that your vote don't count, I'm going to give you a reason that your vote does count. There are many names. I'm just going to go ahead and call out Breonna Taylor. When you think that your vote don't count, you remember the Eric Gardners. You hear me? When you think that it's okay for you to go into corporate America and you just fall in line with what they tell you, I want you to remember the parishioners of the Mother Emanuel Church. You ain't living this life for you. We won't be a tomorrow. If we keep this up, there will not be a tomorrow for us. And so I want to say this as we get ready to close out our show today. I just want to say thank you, Terry. Thank you, Jason. But, you know, my heart goes out. But more than anything, I'm putting my mind into action because, you know, my spirit man is going to control my mind. My mind's going to control my body. I'm getting up off my posterior into my anatomy, and I'm going out. I'm not just blindly following a Democrat. I'm not just blindly following a Republican. I want to follow God with my eyes wide open, but I want to be the one out there to help each and every one of my brothers and my sisters with my eyes wide open. I want to help them open up their eyes because if they're not seeing what's going on, I don't care if they're black, white, green, or purple, they need us. Sometimes they need us to tell them what's really happening like we do our children when they're young. They don't understand everything that's going on. We need to sometimes have people guide us. And that's what I'm saying. It takes a whole village. I'll tell you what, to heal the nation from where it is right now, I'm telling y'all now, it's going to take a whole nation. But I'm going to tell you the influence that we have in this world. When you hear about Black Lives Matter protests all the way over in New Zealand, in Australia, I don't know about how many of y'all don't know how far that is from America. I would tell you, but just go ahead and look it up. Okay? You can't fly in 8 hours, that's for sure. Okay? So having said that, I want to get ready to close out. And I say, Sister Kim, thank you so much for bringing us back on. I hope that this kind of helps some people out. I know we threw a bunch of stuff out. My thing is, my heart goes out to everybody. My heart goes out to people. I'm a worker. That's what I do. I work. And if I can help anybody, I go, I help them. I put in the work, put in the time. And that's what we're going to have to do to change what's going on in our country right now. So I'm saying if you're a young person and you really want to know what you can do for our society, you know what? Fall in line. If you hate your school board, run for school board. If you hate your mayor, run for mayor. You hear me? If you don't like the city council, run for city council. If you know, whatever. That's what we need to do. Because of what I was told a long time ago, if you want a Christian nation, then you better have a nation full of Christians. All right? So with that being said, Sister Kim, go ahead and take us out. I want to thank everybody. We'll be back same bat time, same bat channel. And remember, find something you love, chase it, embrace it, and that is your relentless pursuit. God bless you. We love you. Sister Kim. Thank you.